What's going on, Metroid fans? So we just got a new Metroid Prime 4 Beyond trailer. At the time we got this trailer, we were exactly 1 month away from the drop of Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. So it really makes sense that Nintendo's starting to heat up their marketing campaign for this game. I saw a lot of people panicking, thinking that they're not, treating this game like it's important. And I think Nintendo is just keeping stuff close to the chest and waiting for the right moment. They probably don't want to steal too much thunder away from the Age of Imprisonment game, so I'm betting as soon as that drops, that's when things are really going to heat up for Metroid Prime 4 Beyond. But we did just get this new trailer. I'm very excited about it. As you all know, I always got to do a shot-by-shot breakdown for you guys. With that being said, I am not the first person to do a shot-by-shot breakdown. A couple people have already done it. I saw Andres Restart. He's got a great channel, by the way. You guys should definitely check it out and subscribe because he's usually the first to the punch. Like, he's really, really good about that. And so I saw his breakdown. With that being said, there are some unique things that I noticed that I haven't seen anybody talk about. So although I will be pointing out a lot of the same things that he's mentioned, that other YouTubers have mentioned, there are some unique things that I've just noticed completely on my own. So I'm looking forward to sharing those with you guys. So first off, we see the shot of Samus flying down, and at first when this trailer starts, I just thought it was going to be a combination of all the trailers we've already seen before, but that's not exactly the case. There is stuff new in here, and so yeah, we see Samus coming in, being an absolute badass. And then we see the same landing animation from Samus, but what I will say is that the quality of these images look even better. I'll talk about that more in a little bit. I don't know if they were originally showing us the trailer on like the Switch 1 and now they're showing it on the Switch 2. I think what's more likely is that they're still touching up this game and it's looking better and better. And so again, I'll talk about that more in a little bit, but I'm noticing even these shots we've already seen before look more crisp than they did last time. And then the next shot, another one we've seen before, Samus just getting to Viros. And then this shot, this is the one I want to show you, kind of the side-by-side. Like I said, Andres Restart showed this in his video, and so I'm going to use just a snippet again from what he saw. So again, go check out his channel because he's great at this, but you could just see the difference. Clearly they're still working on this game because the walk path changed, a lot of the aesthetics changed. That's not just like an upgrade from a Switch 1 appearance to a Switch 2 appearance. No. They're clearly still touching up this game, and they probably will be right up to launch, which honestly isn't really anything new for Metroid Prime games, which unfortunately have to deal with time crunches quite a bit. So looking at the next shot, we've seen this one before, this very evil looking spiky world where I believe Samus will be getting her Viola bike and probably her suit as well. So we see her right as the scene starts, she's on one knee. I think she just arrived here. Either she landed here off of her ship, like she jumped off of her ship, or she came here from a portal. And man, this shot is just beautiful. You see the next one where she's standing there. How sick does that look? Metroid Prime 4 is doing a really, really good job of just being so artistic, and the way they position Samus in the shots, man, this really looks excellent here. That's a good wallpaper, to be honest. And then it transitions over to this one where she seems to be in this volcanic, fiery type atmosphere. And then in the next shot, this one's really cool too. We see Samus has now got her second suit in the game. She's opening up something. I imagine this is probably or possibly where she gets that whip that we see her use throughout the trailers. Because again, most of the time when we see her using it, it is in this atmosphere where it looks cold and foggy and underground, that sort of thing. And so I imagine she's probably getting it around here. And then in this next shot here, I imagine this is where Samus is first initially being exposed to that desert biome. This is where she gets to that desert open area for the first time because one, she's still wearing her Varia suit, although we could tell from, this, basically this gem here or this circle area here, she does now have her psychic abilities, but she doesn't yet have her Viola suit or her Viola bike. So I do think the first bits that we spend in this desert area are actually going to be on foot. And Samus is certainly acting like she just got here for the first time based on how disorienting it is that, you know, she's dealing with all this light. She probably just came out of a cave and now this is the first time she's exposed to this desert area. Then it transitions to this other shot, but this one, I don't think this is as much like Samus isn't being blinded by light or anything, but I think this more has to do with the fact that she's dealing with wind resistance as she's trying to cross this bridge. We've seen a little bit of this in other trailers in the past, so I'm pretty sure that's what's going on here. Now this shot is really interesting and has been getting a lot of Metroid fans talking. If you've played Metroid Prime Hunters, then this might have seemed familiar to you, because some people are speculating that this is actually Candon, one of the hunters from Metroid Prime Hunters, Candon the living weapon. And so I can do a lore video if I do start to get the feeling that this actually might be that character, then I will definitely be talking about it. We'll be definitely diving into the lore more. And just because the fact that Sylux, who is from Metroid Prime Hunters, is in this game, it's led many of us Metroid fans to speculate that maybe some of the other characters from Metroid Prime Hunters are in this game as well. This might just be a cool, like, subtle reference to the character Candon, but I don't know for sure. Like, I kind of doubt that this is that character. This could just be an insect that's just whittling around on the ground, and, you know, there's nothing really that much more significant than that. And so, but it has caught my attention. I am going to be interested to paying attention to it in other trailers. I'll definitely examine this more, but just keep that in the back of your mind. To me, it looks kind of like it, but not quite enough yet to totally convince me. So let's go ahead and look at the next shot here. So now here's Samus using the whip as we've seen before. She's up to 3 energy tanks and 40 missiles. So not the furthest part we've seen her of in the game, but she's pretty far along at this point. Then this one is a really interesting shot. So this is pretty new. Obviously, when all the stuff disappears on her HUD and when we start seeing a lot of that purple aesthetic, that's when we know she's using her psychic abilities. And so I guess she's creating platforms with her psychic abilities, which is really, really crazy. And so this looks pretty cool. It's very early in the game because she's in the foresty area, the really lush area of Euros. And she's only got 1 energy tank right now at the moment. And so this is pretty early on, but I'm really interested to know just exactly how does this part of her psychic abilities work. We've seen this shot before, but again, I do think it looks a little bit better. The game's just looking sharper, more crisp, but this is where she starts confronting some of these, what I've been calling corrupted Lemorns, because they definitely look like the Lemorns, just evil, fallen versions. And there's a lot of speculations about whether or not the Lemorn are good guys or bad guys. And we'll actually be getting into that more in a bit with this trailer, because that's kind of touched on a little bit upcoming in this trailer. So the next shot, even these wolves look better. These wolves look fantastic because now we're starting to see the details in their fur coats. And so yeah, there's the howling up here, and then they start to, at a certain point, they're going to start surrounding Samus. You can see the wolf way up on the mountaintop there, which I can't remember if you could see that on the last trailer, but that's a really cool shot there. Now they're approaching Samus. They start surrounding her and about to attack her. And then these ones here, we talked about these enemies looking like Steam Lords from Metroid Prime 3 Corruption. We do know for sure now that that's not what they are, or at least unless there's time travel involved and they play a part of that. But we're pretty sure that's not what they are, because Samus will scan one of these guys here pretty soon. Also, this area definitely looks like the area, or at least somewhere near the area, where she confronts Sylux, because there's all these mechanical things that really look similar to the things that are moving around when she confronts Sylux. Now we got the wolves really surrounding Samus, basically just creating like a whirlwind or a blizzard around her. And so really cool shot on that one. Then these are these robots again, which we'll get into what they're called here in just a second. Another close-up shot of what looks like a fallen Leborn. And then right here we got Samus, really, really sick shot once again. Also, like, with the suits, man. They've really, like, over the years, tried to make Samus look less like a tank and make her look more sleek and elegant. She's looking good here. It's a really, really cool shot. In the background here, that looks like maybe a circle opening, maybe for like a, I don't know, like a morph ball mode entrance. And based on those lines there, maybe Spider Ball, possibly? That would be really cool if Samus just got here through Spider Ball technology. So not sure on that one, but I'd love to see Spider Ball in this game, and I fully expect it. Now, we've seen not this exact shot, but some pretty cool details here. We've seen shots like this. We've seen this area before, but these fallen Lamorne, these corrupted Lamorne, it looks like they're phasing in and out and using special abilities to dodge some of Samus's attacks. We'll actually see this once again later on in this trailer. My guess is, seeing that these are probably just either evil versions of Lamorne or fallen versions of Lamorne, I think they still got, some psychic abilities, and that's probably what they're using against Samus. And so that's just my wild guess. But based on how they're phasing in and out, I do think there's something to that. One thing that I did notice up here on the top left side on the radar is what looks like a wrench. And so there's a little wrench icon on this radar, which I've never seen before in any of the Metroid Prime games. And then there's this kind of, I don't know, this thing that's kind of collapsed. It looked like this isn't obviously natural. This is some sort of machinery or something. And so maybe that means with Samus's psychic abilities, she can fix something or alter something. That might be what that wrench means. But yeah, at this point, we're just guessing. Now, we've seen shots like this already. Samus again in this blizzard area dealing with these wolves. And I've talked about this a little bit before, but my goodness, I can't get over how much damage they're dealing. Like, presumably she just got hit with one wolf, and it took half of her energy tank. Like, how much damage output are these enemies doing? For context, in each energy tank, Samus has 100 health units, and typically on the first, second, and third Metroid Prime games, when she takes a shot from a standard enemy, it usually takes anywhere from 10 to 25 health. Usually around 10 to 25 health units. If it's an enemy that hits like really, really hard, then about 30 health units. But what we've seen in this game so far is it's at minimum like 30 health units, and apparently these wolves are taking half an energy tank. And so yeah, I'm really interested how difficult the combat is going to be in this game. I really, really doubt they'd be showing us the trailer in hard mode, but man, I am excited because some people have had complaints that the Metroid Prime games are a little too easy, and maybe Nintendo heard those complaints and they're stepping it up for Metroid Prime 4. So we'll see, but that is some serious damage output relatively to the original trilogy. Now in this next shot, this is where Samus starts basically scanning one of these robots, and now we can see just partially what this scan says. It's a mechanoid, a Cybot soldier. Basic model of a Lamorne-made Cybot battle android. Typically equipment, and that's where it stops. We can't see anything beyond that. But we now know that this is a, quote, Cybot soldier, and that it was made by the Lamorne. Which is interesting because this thing seems to be evil and attacking Samus. So some people might immediately assume, okay, so they're like evil drones that are attacking Samus. That means Lamorne are evil because they're out to hurt Samus. Well, not necessarily, because if you remember Metroid Prime 2 Echoes, the Luminoth had their own technology. They had their own machinery that they created, but because the Ing then possessed that machinery, it was used against Samus. And as we all know, the Luminoth were not evil. They were actually on Samus's side. And so maybe that's part of it here, but who knows? It's all just speculation at this point. The Lamorne might just be outright good, outright evil, or morally gray, or maybe there's some that are good, some that are evil. But at the very least, we know that they made this, and this is adversarial to Samus. So that is rather interesting, and I bet there's going to be tons of lores and tons of theories, tons of speculation, just based on this alone, leading up to the game's release. Now this is a cool shot. We're getting decently far into the game because Samus is up to 3 energy tanks now. This is that cold area where she probably gets her whip and all that. And these fallen, corrupted Lemorns, I bet if I was to scan these, you'd get a different kind of scan, because these ones look even different than the ones we saw earlier, which were like green and yellow. These ones are more of a pale color, and honestly, they look more, I don't know if it's just because of the color, but they look more like muscular and like brute versions of these fallen Lemorn. And so yeah, these ones are really, really interesting. Samus has got several attacking her at this point. Then she locks on this one, and this is interesting. She shoots a missile at one of them, and it actually deflects the missile. So it's cool to see some counters thrown in here, some more difficulties in dealing with these enemies. So that is really interesting. And then we see this one on the left that actually starts doing that phasing in and out thing, whatever they're doing there. I don't know if that's their own version of psychic abilities or what, but yeah, I can't wait to learn more about these guys. The good Lemorn, the fallen Lemorn, they're really intriguing to me so far. Then we see the shot of Samus on her Viola bike. Presumably, this is when she just starts to get it. And as you can tell, they gotta be touching up the graphics still, because just look at this tire. Look at how chromed out this tire looks in comparison to where we first saw it in that initial trailer that revealed the motorcycle. And so yeah, this looks way cleaner, way more crisp than when we originally saw it. And yeah, I'm pretty excited about this because this is looking clean. I can't wait to see how this looks on my big screen TV, man. I cannot wait to play this game in a month. Next shot, just more of Samus on the Viola bike. And then in this shot, so this is interesting. I think, just looking at this platform here, maybe this is an elevator of some sorts. Can't really tell. This actually might be an elevator, but it looks like right here at the bottom there was a platform and locations for both of the wheels to go. So she might have either just got this bike and this is the platform it started out on, or this is some sort of elevator and she just arrived at this location. Now here's the interesting part. If you look on the very left side of the screen, you can see one of those buildings. It's one of those really spiky buildings. But then, as she starts to enter this tunnel, I think this is when she first starts to enter the desert area. And so you could very much tell that this desert location and that spiky building area are very, very connected. I mean, they're not far apart from each other. And so the same way people have talked about this big open desert area being a hub, kind of like the hub for Hyrule Field and, say, Ocarina of Time, that's probably how it's going to work, because these things seem to be really within close proximity of one another. And then as she's going through this tunnel, I haven't seen anybody mention this, and I thought this was really interesting. Samus is driving through this tunnel, and I really had to slow down the frame rate in order to notice this one. Look at this up here. What is that? There's another Viola bike just hanging out up there. What is that about? Why is that there? Are there going to be other characters riding around on Viola bikes? There's a lot of these things? Is this kind of like Ghosts in Halo and in Halo 2 where, they're just sitting around all over the place and Samus can just grab one wherever? I kind of doubt it. I think she's got her own personal one. And so, yeah, to me that's fascinating. It just seems like such a random location in the middle of this runway to just be hanging out there. I figured there'd be only one of these bikes, but clearly that is not the case. So let me know if you guys have any thoughts or theories on that. So yeah, Samus then, I think this is directly afterwards. She goes out into this desert area. We've seen some of this already. See these like birds or eagle type things, and apparently they're adversarial because Samus is shooting one of them with a disc. And, those discs that comes out the back of her bike. And so that's a cool little attack mechanism that she's got. And then we see this really interesting looking tower. This is not the first time we've seen this. And just by its presentation, the fact that there looks to be like some sort of barrier or force field around it, I imagine this is going to be a very central part of the game. I think this is going to be very important and a big deal. I'm sorry, I gotta complain a little bit because I've talked about this before. Somebody told me in the comments when I originally complained about this, Samus goes from completely flat to popping a wheelie in one frame. It looks so cheesy and so sloppy, and I wish it was a little bit more smooth. I've talked about this in past trailers, and one guy in the comment section was really attacking me for it, saying, no, that's just the way it's edited, like yada yada yada. No, man, this is the third time now that we've seen her pop a wheelie, and it just goes from completely flat to completely in wheelie mode. And so I don't know why it's like that. I wish they would have smoothed that out a little bit, because it just looks sloppy. It looks like she instantly teleports from flat to wheelie mode, to peak wheelie. And so anyway, it's a minor complaint. I'm not going to make a big deal about it. I'm still excited as hell about this game. I just wish that didn't look as sloppy as it does. And then we see Samus entering this building, which, based on this exterior, based on this aesthetic of this room, this might be an area that we haven't seen yet. I do not recognize this, just with that orange and green color scheme. This might be much, much further in the game, a place that they really haven't shown us much of yet. And then Samus doing the iconic Akira slide, which everybody's been talking about, and so it looks cool. It's a little cheesy, but it looks sick for sure. And then the final shots we've seen before, Sylux and Samus squaring off once again. And so, yeah, there you have it. I have a lot of questions from this trailer, but again, we'll get those answers soon because it all drops on December 4th. Guys, I am so excited. A lot of people are really pleased with this trailer. I honestly don't know why. I liked the last trailer as well. Like, I get seeing the bike initially was a little bit jarring. I guess probably the reason why people were more receptive to this trailer overall is probably just the fact that everything looks crisper. I think they've really touched up the graphics quite a bit, and it does really look pretty clean, and a lot more of what we expected with this game being on the Switch too. And so I'm very happy to see that. But yeah, guys, I really enjoyed this, so let me know what you guys think about it in the comments section below. Yeah, let me know on a scale of 1 to 10, how excited are you about this game? If it's not a 10, it's pretty darn close at this point for me. I'm very thrilled. So, thanks for watching as always. Make sure to like and subscribe for more Metroid and Zelda content, and I'll see you guys in the next video.